Hello again. This is Vinita Hampton-Wright, and I'm with Days of Deepening Friendship, an online community of women growing wiser. And today we have a visitor, but he's an old friend visitor.
Yeah, right.
You've been here before, Terry. Was it last year or the year before? We did The Power of Pause,
Yes.
your book then. And we have a new book by Terry, which is selling very well, Sanctuary, Creating a Space for Grace in Your Life. You started out as a lot of things, but I know that one of the main things that kind of got you into this whole area was that you work with gardens, right?
Right.
And so Terry has been expertly creating garden spaces for people for a long time, but he also helps people create spaces both internally and externally for that interior kind of sanctuary. What would you call sanctuary? I mean, just a very quick...
A place that renews, replenishes, and nourishes. I am a gardener, a garden designer now, writer, and a bunch of other stuff.
Yeah.
Because there's no sense having one job when you can have 16. but I started out as a Protestant clergyman, still am, but I started out doing church work, parish work when I was young. And I was crazy busy.
Yeah.
You know, doing all the right things.
Which is typical of clergy.
Which is typical.
You get too busy.
You get too busy. And so what I discovered very quickly is just because I was successful, which I was, doesn't mean I was healthy.
Yeah.
And what was missing was sanctuary. I didn't have sanctuary in my life.
And you tell a wonderful story in this book about one of the first places you discovered was a sanctuary for you.
My grandmother?
Yeah.
My grandmother lived in North Florida. She had a swing, an old porch swing.
Yeah.
And she had I can still picture her. And she had a white turban. That's what she wore instead of a wig. She wore this white turban. She would sit in this porch swing, and I could visit her. And she was alive till in my 30s.
Yeah.
And I would visit her, and she would just pat the seat next to her, and she called me darling.
Yeah.
And she just said, come sit. This was like one of the only places in my life where I didn't have to explain myself, and I didn't have to perform.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And so I could just let all of that down and just be. So I have a swing down my own garden.
Yeah, I do too.
In honor of my grandmother.
Yeah, swings can be really great sanctuaries. What do you see? And Terry does a lot of work in parishes. I mean, he's been in ministry a long time. He does a lot of different forms of ministry, given the kinds of work that he does. What do you find to be one of the main obstacles to people finding sanctuary?
Well, there's two. One is the obvious one that we're way too busy.
Yeah.
And so we assume that it's something we have to fit into the otherwise busy part of our life. And so we'll get around to it if we have time. I mean, the first comment people say to me is, sanctuary is for people who have the time. What about for those of us who don't? When in fact, there are great stories in the book about where sanctuary is found even in the midst.
Yeah.
Even mothers of young kids with a bunch of them, and their plates are full and they're juggling, find little moments, little spaces, little places for themselves or even with a friend where they have sanctuary.
Yeah.
It's just a 15-minute thing. So that's one. It's just, you have to, it's a reframe. It's a paradigm shift. The sanctuary can happen in the middle. And the second obstacle to me is that we think that when we have sanctuary, we have to be good at it.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, here I'm having sanctuary.
Yeah.
What am I supposed to do?
You have to know how to do contemplative prayer or some kind of special meditation.
And that's what my grandmother's swing was great about.
Yeah.
There wasn't an agenda, and there wasn't a script. And now I do have a way of doing prayer, but that's my way now. But back then, I was allowed just to breathe.
Yeah. Yeah.
And let it be. And, okay, the third reason. The third thing.
I knew you'd keep coming up with a reason. I know him.
Because we don't give ourselves the permission.
Yeah.
We don't. It's like, here I am breathing, having sanctuary, whether it's myself or, let's say, a small group of people that are in my sanctuary or my grandmother, whoever it is. But then I think to myself, shouldn't I be doing something important? Right? And so.
Yeah.